and thank you for joining me today. My name is Wesley Boudreau, one of the financial advisors here at the Retirement Group. Today we're going to go over a very unique situation for ExxonMobil employees, and that is the ExxonMobil one-time lump sum offer that just came out in the last week or two. I know many of you may have gotten that postcard last month teasing about it, and now you've gotten that paperwork in hand that needs to be returned by June 17th. So it's a very unique opportunity for many of you because if you were a terminee, which is somebody who left the company either on their own accord or Exxon unfortunately cutting positions, and you didn't reach age 55 plus 15, your pension, you only had one choice, and that was the annuity, and different choices within that annuity we'll talk about. But you did not have a lump sum choice. So now this one-time offer is coming about. You have until June 17th to make an election on there to where you can actually take that lump sum, something you were not able to do prior, and probably will not have a chance to do again. We'll talk a little bit about that, dig into the forms and the process and what you need to look out for with this. Now, before I get started, I just want to remind everybody who may not know who we are, the Retirement Group. We are an independent financial advisory firm. We're not employed by, nor are we endorsed by ExxonMobil. However, we have been working extensively for a number of years with ExxonMobil employees and retirees, and essentially helping you transition into retirement, making sure you have a deep understanding of the benefits plans, whether it be the pension in this case, health care, the 401k, and helping people avoid common mistakes we see from time in and time out on a lot of those different elections as you transition. Now, for most of you, if you've gotten this letter, then you've already transitioned out of Exxon, so we're going to talk a little bit more about what those choices are in that pension and touch them on the 401k as well for you. And we do have offices throughout the country, so rest assured if you need to sit down and talk with somebody face-to-face, we can still accommodate you there. But obviously this time and age, we can actually do many meetings via webinars. We can phone calls, email, fax, whatever is going to be most convenient for you. But also I want you to remember, and if you do have any curiosity in reviewing this, we'll probably suggest it, but take us up on our cash flow analysis. This is actually a complimentary plan that we can put together for you to show you not just how this lump sum offer looks now, but how it ties into your overall retirement plan and your strategy, and if you're on the right path to meet what your retirement goals are. If you want to figure out, okay, can I retire in 5 years or 7 years or tomorrow? We can go through all that and run a cash flow analysis to see what it's going to look like, not just now, but in 10, 20, 30 years down the road. Compare these options, the annuity versus the lump sum, deferral or taking it now. And then also that can back into any help you may need on your investment side of things too, on the 401k, or if you take this lump sum and roll it over to an IRA, how you would actually do that. So let's first review what a terminee is. I mentioned it before, but essentially anybody that leaves ExxonMobil and they're not age 55 plus 15. This is a really big situation because what happens is, as a terminee, if you don't reach 55 plus 15, the only option you have in your pension is going to be the annuity. Now you can take the single life annuity, the joint survivor, period certain, all those different options, but you do not have a lump sum choice. The other issue on it is it gives you a much more severe age penalty, if you would, as far as taking it before your full retirement age. Your full retirement age as a terminee is actually higher than a retiree, and it's going to be age 65. So if you didn't know anything about this coming out and you just kind of kept your head down, continue to work or do what you were doing, and you let this defer out till age 65, that's when you get 100% of your pension, and that's when you can elect that annuity. Now this again is the unique one-time lump sum offer, so what they're doing is they're actually allowing you to take a lump sum instead. Now another unique feature that I haven't really gotten figured out the exact calculations for it yet, but if you look at this chart on the side, this is the age penalty schedule for a terminee. So if we look at somebody, let's say that's 55. At 55, you're only going to capture 38% of your pension. So if you let that defer out for another 10 years, you're going to be capturing 100% of it. Now I've gone through 4 or 5 of these already, and every single one, the age penalty that's shown on the projection is actually better. I've actually looked at so 54s, instead of it being 34%, we're actually about 53%. Another person age 55, instead of it being 38, was actually about 58%. I do not know exactly why or what the calculation is, but that's another benefit of this one-time lump sum that Exxon isn't even mentioning to you. So what's going to happen is, if you were to look at exercising it now, regardless of the lump sum, you're capturing a higher amount of your pension than what you otherwise would have. Otherwise, if you do defer until age 65, you'll get 100% of it, and we'll go over some different options there and even some examples as well. So as far as the one-time lump sum offer, as I mentioned before, you have until June 17th, so just a few weeks away, to actually make your election. You can do that online, which is the easiest, and we can walk you through that. or you can do it via the forms that they sent you as well, and we'll talk about those forms in a moment. Now, it is not going to get paid out until August of this year, so 2022. So once you make that election, it's going to take 2 months or so for them to process it, and you should be getting that check and that check or checks if you take the annuity in mid-August or so. Now, as I mentioned, this is a one-time thing. We've never seen this happen before. I have seen when Exxon maybe has sold off a plant or something like that, where they have given people a bridge or a bump up, adding 3 years of service in order to get them to retiree status to get the lump sum. But as far as a blanket across the board, all terminees getting this option, this is a unique situation. And direct from the horse's mouth, got a couple quotes on there that you will find on your pension packet they sent you. So again, the company does not intend to make this opportunity available to you again. If you are interested, it is up to you to make it happen today. Also, review the contents of this election package carefully and speak with your financial advisor. So obviously, if you have a financial advisor, go ahead and talk with them. But again, we've worked extensively with ExxonMobil employees for many years, going through the pension election forms for terminees and retirees. So if you need some help or guidance, give me a call. We'll be happy to walk you through that as well. And like I said before, it needs to be submitted by June 17th. And be very careful in there, because that is a deadline. If you miss that, there's no change in it. And we've been through this before. We've seen people drag their feet and not get their paperwork in time for, let's say, a specific quarter for their benefit commencement, and it cost them quite a bit of money. So Exxon is a stickler on getting those things in and making sure they're dated right too. I've seen issues where somebody wrote the wrong year or the wrong date and they got it kicked back as well. So you don't want to run through that. And that's why I would recommend doing the website. So when you have a chance, you can go to the website, which is going to be ExxonMobil-lumpsum-window.com. Once you get there, let's take a quick zoom in. This is what you're going to see. If you haven't gone there yet, on the kind of bottom left, there's a blue register button. That's where you're going to actually click on it to register. You'll create put your email in, create a password and everything. And once you've gotten in there, when you come back and sign in, you'll put in your email and your password, and then that will actually bring you into the portal. And it's fairly straightforward, but again, I've walked quite a few people through it already. So if you want to set up a web meeting or a screen share, we can go through that with you as well. But what it's going to do is going to bring up your information. It's going to confirm what they put on the pension packet for you already. So it's going to have your date of birth, your age, years of service, everything. It'll give you all your choices, from the lump sum to the annuity to the different breakdown of annuities. And then you'll have to go through there and decide what you're going to do, your election. If you take the lump sum, you decide on that, and it'll be a page where it's going to ask you where you want to roll that over to. Hypothetically, if you're working with us, we clear through Charles Schwab, so there's a drop-down box, and that's the third choice on that drop-down box. So all you need to do is get an IRA set up and go through that and get that rolled over. But there will be a spousal consent form, and even though you're doing it online, you'll need to actually have your husband or wife sign that and have it notarized. And then there's a section where you upload that. And once you go through this and upload it, then everything's set. Now, once you do this, you can only do it once. You cannot make any changes on the website. The only way to make changes is by doing it via mail and in writing. So again, if you need us to hold your hand through that process or walk you through it, just let me know. We can help you avoid any potential mistakes. As far as the different options, just to kind of review that, and you'll see this on your pension packet. Like I said before, as a regular terminee, the only choices you had before were the annuity, and the different annuity options are your basic single life annuity is going to cover just your life for as long as you live with a 5-year period certain. So what that means is if you live to age 100, you're going to get paid out till age 100. If you only live 3 more years, your beneficiaries will get 2 more years because it has that period certain. There's other options if you want to add extensions on there, like a 10, 15, or 20-year period certain, so at least you know at least the minimum of how much money could be potentially paid out to you or your estate. Or if you're married, you want to make sure you're providing for your spouse, you can do a joint survivor annuity where you can continue to get 100%, 75, 50, 25%, or you can also do that with conjunction of a period certain. So that way 2 lives are taken care of, but even if something were to happen to the 2 of you prematurely, it may pay out for 20 years. Every time you make little adjustments there, you'll actually see that the amount they pay is going to drop down because they're on the hook longer. There's a greater chance they'll be paying that out longer than just on your life. Now, again, what you didn't have before was that one-time lump sum, and that's the other offer that they're giving you, is instead of taking that annuity, you can actually take the lump sum And we'll talk about interest rates in just a moment and kind of tell you how that calculation is set forward. But again, it's a one-time situation. If you do not take it right now, then you still have the ability to defer your benefits and commence at a later date if you want to, or defer all the way till age 65. But that lump sum will go away. The annuity will not go away. The lump sum is what's going away. So how do they get to that lump sum? How do they calculate it? They actually use interest rates, and they've been using the PPA, the Pension Protection Act segment rates, since 2006. And what they do is they take a look at your single life annuity. They look at how old you are now. They look at life expectancies to figure out how many more years or months do we have to pay this person, a certain amount of income. And then what they do is they look at the interest rates, the current interest rates for the quarter, to back into that and get the net present value to figure out how much they have to give you. Now, generally speaking, whenever interest rates are low, they have to give you more for you to go out there and try and recreate that income stream yourself. When interest rates are higher, they don't have to give you quite as much. So we've been in a very unique interest rate environment where interest rates were low for the last 5-6 years, and they went even lower thanks to the pandemic. And now we're at a turning point where inflation's setting in. They're starting to go back up, but by no means are they as high as they probably were when you left the company, whether it was 4 years ago or 10 years ago. Interest rates were historically higher than where they are today. So this is a good benefit for you. They are using the third quarter interest rates, which are a little bit higher than, or a lot higher than what they were for second quarter. But unfortunately, you have no control over that. It is what it is for this lump sum offer. And the way those pension rates work, there's a first, second, and third segment. The first segment covers the first 5 years of retirement. The second segment covers years 6 through 20. And the third segment is going to cover years 21 and beyond. So for most of us, that second segment is going to correlate to, it's going to cover 15 years of payments. So that's kind of the bulk of our retirement. So it's going to have a heavier weighting. So if we look at that, the rates right now, I'll kind of zoom in on these for you. Oh, I apologize about that. The rates right now, if we look at the third quarter, it's going to be 2.16%, 3.53%, and 3.82%. And these are figured out by using the average of the February and March rates to get to that. And then this is what you'll see whenever you look at your pension packet, and it gives you all the information as far as the lump sum factor. It'll show you those interest rates they're using. And like I said, those interest rates have come up a bit, but they're still historically low, which is granting you a higher lump sum than you may have seen if they were to offer this before. And I've worked with somebody that's kind of lucked into the situation. I mentioned before about the wrong date or making a mistake on that. Somebody that did leave Exxon, the plant was sold this about maybe 6 years ago or so, and went through the whole process and actually turned in the pension packet for that lump sum special offer they gave them because the plant was being sold, but misdated it and then missed the deadline, so they couldn't do anything. Fast forward, now they're getting this, and the irony of it all is they're lucking out because the interest rates are lower, which means the lump sum offer is higher for her. And then also, like I mentioned before earlier on that slide, the age penalties are less severe for some reason. So it actually was a benefit. So that's why, again, I say, really take a close look at this, because that lump sum, if you want that, is actually more beneficial than you would have had even when you left the company probably. So let's talk about how we actually calculate something like this, or how do we review it. Now, everybody's going to be unique and different, so give me a call. We can plug your numbers in and run a calculation, or just simply talk about it. I know a lot of you, you got this offer, weren't expecting it. You might just say, hey, I'm taking the lump sum. I want this money. I want to get what's mine, and then not have to worry about it in the future. And that may be one thing, but it's really important as fiduciaries that we walk you through and make sure that you make the right decision for you. Because some of the big risk of the lump sum are somebody who may have spending issues. Maybe you want to spend it down too quickly, or maybe you've got friends and family that might be tapping on the shoulder for a little bit of help here and there. I've seen that happen before. Or if you take it and want to try and invest it and take on too much risk yourself, you could actually lose that money. So you want to be very careful about that as well. But let's kind of go through some different options. Let me use this. This is a quick example I made. This is actually fairly similar to somebody I walked through the other day. I just rounded some of the figures to make it a little bit easier to look at. But let's say that we focus on somebody that's going to make it to age 85. Let's assume that's life expectancy, and that's when they're going to pass away. They're 55 years old right now, so they have the option to take the lump sum right now, the annuity right now, or they can defer that out to age 65, so they get a higher annuity and get that bump up to 100%. Now, obviously, there's the other annuity options, the joint survivor, the period certain, but we'll just talk about these three right now, just the single life annuity, 2 different dates, and the lump sum. So on their pension packet, Their one-time lump sum was $300,000. Their single life annuity right now was $1,500 per month. And if they decided to wait and just defer it out to age 65, it jumped up by $1,000 to $2,500 a month. So which is better for you? You need to kind of look at it on the look at the math and figure out what's going to be better. Now, unfortunately, we don't have a crystal ball. We don't know when we're going to pass away. But under these assumptions, let's assume that somebody's going to live for 30 more years. So let's go to that middle line in here and let's talk about let's assume that they're going to live for 30 more years and they decide to take that single life annuity right now. So that $1,500 per month for the next 30 years, that's going to add up to $540,000 in payments from Exxon over their lifetime or over that 30-year period. Now, it's also important to remember, okay, is this person working right now or are they retired? Because if you are working right now, you may not want that single life annuity because that just means extra income you don't need, may bump you up into a higher tax bracket. So that's why, again, I said it's case-by-case scenario. We need to sit down and review it with you. So let's assume that they decided they don't need the money right now. They deferred it out to the original age 65, got $1,000 more a month, so $2,500 per month. And now it was only for 20 years, so less years, but a higher amount. That actually adds up to $600,000. So they actually made about $60,000 more from Exxon over that time period. Now, again, you can go and argue, okay, what if I had that $1,500 a month for 10 years and invested it? So you can go through that process as well. But I think what a lot of people have questions on right now is the lump sum, because if you were to defer this and take the annuity, you don't have to do anything. You can let that happen. But if you do want to take the lump sum, this is the one time only that you can do it according to Exxon. So if you take that lump sum of $300,000, let's assume a pretty conservative growth rate of only 5%. If you had that growing at 5% for the next 10 years to compare it to that age 65 option, that's going to grow to about $488,000. So again, that 48 is lower than the 540, lower than the 600. But if you assume that it continued to grow and you were taking distributions, it could be better. If it didn't grow a dime, which probably is not going to be the case, but if you locked in that 488 and it never grew at all, that would give you about 16 years of distribution at 2,500. So a little bit short of the age 65 annuity. But if you assumed it continued to grow at that conservative 5% rate of return, which again is conservative, you probably would see higher rates over long-term periods. But at a 5% rate of return, that would continue to grow, and you're taking that $2,500 out each month just like you would at age 65. You would actually make it through 20 years. However, at age 85, let's assume that's when you passed away, you still have $300,000 left over to pass on to your beneficiaries. So again, you're able to kind of kill two birds with one stone. You're able to get the potential income if you're comparing it, as well as pass something on to your beneficiaries. Now, there's a lot of nuances in between here, and we can run, like I said, a cash flow analysis to show differences in claiming strategies and how you want to access that, because maybe you want to retire at 60, access it earlier, and we go through all those different scenarios with you. So let's kind of dig into some of the forms you're going to get and talk a little bit about the 401k, then we'll wrap it up, and hopefully we'll get some calls from you and we'll go through helping you out. So the forms you did get, this is typical of ExxonMobil. They're going to give you a pretty big packet with a lot of different forms. They're going to be number coded and they're going to be out of order. If your normal pension packet is going to have like F18, F51, F54, this one's going to be labeled L, I'm assuming for lump sum or something like that. So it's not going to be as simple as just going, L1, L2, L3, L4, L5. Let's kind of go in a little bit of an order of what you're going to look at. It's L10 is going to be your basic statement. That's going to show you what your pension amounts are going to be, your years of service, Social Security offset, and everything on there. And then actually, let me bring that point up. I don't know if I glanced over on one of the slides I made earlier, but if you left Exxon and you haven't worked since or done anything else or had a lower income, let us know about that, because the Social Security offset, what they do is they assume that you're continuing to make the same amount you left Exxon at, and they run that to calculate your estimate for Social Security. When they run the calculation, they subtract that out to essentially kind of claw back what they put in there. So I was working with somebody the other day when we ran this, and he hasn't done the same stuff since he left Exxon, and the Social Security offset, if we run the calculation, would have actually made him about another $11,000 in the lump sum or so. Now, I do not know, we still need to contact HR. I don't know if they'll allow you to do the Social Security offset adjustment like we can do under normal circumstances because of the time crunch, but it's still worth taking a look at if you made that change. So any questions on there, just give me a call. We'll be happy to run through that. So the L10, again, gives you your basic information, shows you what your options are. The L5 is if you decide, I want to take that lump sum. That's where you're going to fill that out and tell them who you're rolling it over to and how you want to roll it over. So page 3 is where you're going to select that rollover option, whether it be another qualified plan, an IRA. Like I said before, if you were working with us, we clear through Charles Schwab, so you would check off the first box, which would be a qualified plan or an IRA, and you'd write in Charles Schwab. So what would happen is they would make the check payable to Charles Schwab for the benefit of you. They mail it to you, and then we just need to deposit it with Schwab to get that into your IRA. And then also keep in mind, I know I've talked to some people that said, hey, I might want to roll over, half of it and take half of it, or roll over, 90% of it and take 10%. Keep in mind, you can do that, but any distribution you take from this directly from the pension, no matter what your tax bracket is going to be, there's a 20% withholding. So you will be having 20% withheld. Otherwise, if you want to take the entire amount, roll over to an IRA, and then take a withdrawal from there, you can dictate the withholding. So if you're in the 12% tax bracket, you can say 12%. That way you're saving that 8% that otherwise would have been an interest-free loan that you would have given to the IRS if you took it from the pension. And then if you're doing the lump sum or anything other than annuity, there's going to be the spousal consent form, which is L1. This is the one that your spouse will actually have to get signed in front of a notary. And if you're mailing everything back, that's fine. But if you're going to be doing it online, you'll need to upload this document. So you cannot complete it till you do this as well. And then if you decide you want to take the annuity and take that now versus deferring it, that's going to be L2. So the annuity election form is going to be there. On the page 3, you're going to select the different payment options because, again, there's multiple options for the annuity. And then page 4 is where you're going to provide your beneficiaries in case something were to happen to you. And then, like I said, if you're not going to elect the annuity now or the lump sum, you just want to continue to defer, there's nothing that you need to do. Just disregard the application altogether. So in going through all this, obviously it may bring up some questions on the 401k. I don't know if many of you have kept your 401k at ExxonMobil or if you rolled it over to an IRA or spent through it. There's a lot of different options there. But if you still have that 401k over at Voya, it's probably a good time to review that as well. So feel free to give us a call on that. But ultimately speaking, it's a great plan if you're cost conscious. It's probably one of the cheapest 401k plans I've ever seen. However, it doesn't have that many investment choices in there as well. So you get what you pay for, I guess. Depending upon what you did while you were working at Exxon, if you had any after-tax money in there, there's definitely some after-tax treatment options that may be beneficial for you. Namely, one, you can take that as a tax-free distribution to yourself, or you can roll it over to a Roth IRA, which is something that will allow it to grow tax-free going forward. And this is something that last year Congress was kicking around doing away with, so it's probably timely to review this if you do have some. And then also, if you've got ExxonMobil stock, depending upon how long you were there, you may have some low-cost basis stock, which means you could exercise NUA. And if you just go to our webinars, you can look up this and we'll talk about it in more detail. But this is a way for you to actually decrease your taxes on low-cost basis stock as well. And if you have questions on it, just give us a call. We can do so. And at the end of the day, if you do take that lump sum, roll it to an IRA, you may have the ability to also take that 401k and consolidate it, both those into the IRA. But again, it's important to review whether you have low-cost basis stock, age penalties, things like that and stuff. So give us a call. We'll be happy to go over with you. So let me do a quick review, following up with everything. Again, June 17th is a deadline. You need to make this happen if you're going to make a decision. And the best way to do that is probably going to be going online, so that way you get a confirmation. There's no risk of mailing issues. Again, it's a one-time lump sum offer for terminees. We've never seen this happen before, and according to the verbiage in there, it doesn't look like it's going to happen again. The rates, like I said before, are favorable historically. You have no control over that anyway, but just so you know, it's pretty historical favorability for you. And then you want to make sure you review the age penalties. Again, that's the difference between taking it now versus deferring to age 65 if you're closer there, for instance. Also, the annuity, like I said, if you're thinking about taking the annuity, deferring it may be better, so you need to kind of look at those side by side. Don't forget about reviewing that 401k plan if you still have it at ExxonMobil. Even if you rolled it to an IRA and you have questions, we can help you there as well. So at the end of the day, just give us a call. We can help you out with any questions you have, walk you through this process, and then obviously if you need help beyond it, if you're taking that lump sum, want to roll over to an IRA, we can walk you through how to easily set up one online through Schwab pretty quickly. And then that'll give you time between now and August to have a discussion with us about whether you want to do things on your own or if you want to work with us and go through what we can provide for you as well. And at the end of the day, the best way to kind of review all this is by running through a cash flow analysis to kind of see how this fits into the big picture. Right now, about 3/4 of Americans out there over 50 don't have a written plan. So again, if you can spend about maybe 10 minutes with us gathering some data, we can put this report together for you, get it back to you in about a week or so. and help you have all the information you need to make that financial decision as to whether or not you want to take this lump sum or take the annuity or continue to defer it. And then ultimately speaking, at the end of the day, obviously, if you do need help, we'd love to work with you. If you're working with somebody right now, we understand that, but we do recommend getting a second opinion. We even recommend our own guys and gals to do this every now and then just to keep us on our toes. But if you are working with somebody, make sure they have a deep understanding of your benefits plans, especially at ExxonMobil. There's unique situations like this. There's other situations with the pension, the 401k, healthcare options as well. So, and then at the end of the day, there's going to be a fee. Whether you're working with us, we're going to charge a fee. Whether you're working with somebody else, there's going to be a fee. Whether you keep it in the 401k, there's a fee. The fee's pretty low in the 401k plan, but make sure you understand what your fee structure is if you're working with somebody. A retirement group, we are fiduciaries, so we're transparent on that. We can work with you anywhere from a no fee DIY approach, or if you want us to help you manage it, where we have a fee structure where we charge in order to manage that for you. And then at the end of the day, figure out what is it you are looking for. What are kind of the bigger factors you want to make sure that we focus on, and we'll be happy to help you out with that. And you want to make sure you are working with a team, not one individual trying to do everything. Myself, the other advisors here, we focus on working with clients and using the back office support of both Schwab and the retirement group to help with some of the guidance and the management side of things as well as some of the maintenance. So it makes things easier. And at the end of the day, you need to run that cash flow analysis before you make any type of decisions as far as investment strategies, because if you don't know what you're trying to solve for, then how do you know what you're doing? So again, we went through a lot of different stuff there, but ultimately the easiest thing is if you have questions on this, just give me a call. You can reach us at 1-800-900-5867, and we'll be happy to walk you through the different options. We'll be able to provide that cash flow analysis if you want, or just be a sounding board to answer some questions you may have surrounding the offer or even beyond the offer. Again, that's 800-900-5867. You can also reach us at info@theretirementgroup.com. And then if you're tech savvy, if you want to hold your phone up, I'll keep the screen up here for just a little bit before you hit the disclosures. But you can either follow us on LinkedIn and get specifically to the ExxonMobil LinkedIn page, so you're up to date on all of our webinars for ExxonMobil, interest rate updates, things like that. Or also, if you want to schedule an appointment with myself or one of the other advisors at the retirement group, there's a scheduling button up there as well. You can go in there and schedule that. Now, our schedules usually for this function are a couple days out, so if you need to talk sooner, because this is obviously a more unique and timely opportunity for you, just give us a call and we can schedule something for you as well. But with that, I want to remind everybody, the retirement group, we do work extensively with ExxonMobil employees, so we've got a very deep understanding of this process for you. But at the end of the day, we are not employed by nor are we affiliated with ExxonMobil. But again, any questions you have, feel free, just give us a call. We'll be happy to help you out. You can reach us at 1-800-900-5867. Thank you very much, and I hope everybody has a great day.